Hey, what's up, everybody? Eric Solbox out in the shop this morning. It's Sunday, just coming up on 8 a.m. So this followed me home a couple of days ago. KDX 200, 2003. I got rid of a 2005 KDX 200 right at the beginning of COVID, thinking that having some extra money in the bank wouldn't be all bad, not knowing exactly how that whole thing was going to go. And so I've been kind of missing trail riding. And if you've never ridden a KDX 200, you know, this bike has a cult following, and for good reason. It's just magic on the trails. Super soft suspension, plenty of power. It's really thin and nimble. It's a little bit overweight, but when you're riding it, you don't really feel it. Like a good 252 stroke. I think my 02 CR250 that I bought new was like 218. This is like 240, I think, 239, something like that. So it's a little bit heavier, but that's all right. So anyway, this bike is pretty roached, and when I went out to look at it, it actually looked a lot better in the pictures than when I got out there and looked at it. I was like, oh, Jesus. The first thing I did was grab the back tire, and it has like ½ inch of play. Here's the bearings now. Yeah, so this bike, but it was a one-owner bike. The guy had bought it brand new and trail ridden it here in Washington. And, you know, I think this is just a perfect example of a bike just not really getting its maintenance done. I think basically this bike was purchased and just ridden, which isn't great, obviously, but the motor runs great. You know, I could tell by, you know, just with the Kickstarter, you could tell it's got all of its compression. It's and it's a very low hour bike. I can tell. I mean, it's got some hours on it, but it's not real bad. So basically, this guy bought this bike and trail rode it and just didn't really take good care of it, which is kind of a negative. But the positive to that is that, you know, like none of the bolts, like this pipe's never been off of here. Like everything is perfectly square. Like the shrouds have never been off of it. Nothing's ever been off of it. This, I believe, is actually the original Dunlop. I'm pretty sure this bike came with 739s, and I think that's the original 739 that came on this bike. Boy, is it done. I'll tell you what. So I think basically the bike was bought new and ridden. Like these are the original brake pads, I'm pretty sure. So it's pretty roached, but doable. It doesn't feel like there's any slop in the swing arm. The head bearings were really tight for some reason. Like you could barely even turn I'm not barely turn, but it took some effort to turn the front end on it. I just basically loosened everything up a bit, and it's turning like it should now. The main idea here with this bike presently is to get it to where I can get it out and ride it. Maybe this winter I go through and pull the whole front end apart and, you know, grease everything real nice. I'm sure that it needs it. It probably needed more grease straight from the factory is really the truth of it. But I'll do all that stuff later on. My main thing right now is that I really miss trail riding, and so I want to get back out. The only thing on this that really isn't stock is somebody put better bars on it, probably because I'm going to guess they crashed and bent the stock steel ones. I don't think anything was done to this bike that wasn't absolutely a necessity to have done, except for maybe this glide plate. And I'm glad to see this on here, and you can see where it's had some damage to it, where it's been up over rocks and stuff. But he said that he basically just trail rode it, and his wife rode it some too, and he was an older guy like me, so I just think it didn't get its maintenance like it should have. So anyway, I hate to support the Tusk brand, but you know, I used to buy the T63 dual sport tires, and I loved those tires. Why they got discontinued is beyond me. So I've been looking for a tire that's inexpensive and works well on the street and off. And honestly, although I haven't ridden these yet, these are the Tusk, what is it, D Sport or something, or is that what they're called? Hell, I don't know. Anyway, these are the Tusk tires. Like 125 bucks to my door for both of them. That's pretty reasonable, and they do look like a pretty good tire. I hope I enjoy these. I hope that they're as good as they look, because The T63, I've just never found a really good replacement for it, man. I used to buy those all day, every day. How could you say no to 125 bucks? I mean, I could afford to keep them fresh, right? At that price, you could take them off halfway worn and put a fresh set on, and no big deal. Here's the axle of the bike. It's in some purple stuff. It just needs lots of cleanup and little love, but things like this, like look how bent that is. That's not supposed to be like that. So lots of little stuff on this, like the brake. This was just folded all the way, like the metal was all bent, but it took me like 2 seconds to bend it back out. No big deal. Same thing with the shifter. It was kind of in the wrong position, but you know what? I just straightened it out. Oh, I remember what it was. It was that it had been bent here and was keeping this cocked back. I just stuck a screwdriver in there and straightened it out. So lots of like little tiny stuff need to be addressed. The real benefit behind this bike is that when I was transferring the title, I'm at the DMV, the lady's like 100 and the bill came to like 140 bucks. And I'm like, what did I just buy? Because like literally the tax on it should have been like 30 bucks plus like a transfer fee or whatever. So I was kind of caught off guard and I was like, well, what all does that entail? And she's like, well, the license plate. And I'm like, hold up, the license plate? This bike shouldn't have a license plate, lady. I even told her she was making a mistake. And then she goes over to talk to her supervisor and I'm just like, shh, shh, shh. No, it's cool. I'll take the plate. So anyway, I got a plate for this without any sort of inspection or anything. Like they just did it, which isn't right here in Washington State. That's not how it goes. This bike is platable in this state. If you do everything, if you put this entire kit on it, which I ordered also, I got all this stuff to make it into a street legal bike. I just won't have to get it inspected because I've already got the plate. So I'm gonna put the Tusk D Sport or whatever they are on there so that I'm DOT approved for the road. And then I'm gonna put the blinkers and everything else on it. I've always wanted a street legal two-stroke. The only street legal two-stroke I've ever had was an RD 350 twin two-stroke. Anybody knows about those knows that, yeah, that's why my arms are so long now. That bike would come on the pipe and just, I mean, it was insane to ride that bike. It was total 70 suspension and chassis with just brutal power. So anyway, I've always wanted a two-stroke for the street, preferably two-stroke dirt bike like I've got here. So this is going to be a lot of fun. You know, I've got the CRF 250 Rally, but you know, I take it like out to Walker Valley. I don't want to ride it on single track. It's just too big and heavy. This is a dirt bike that's going to have a plate. CRF Rally, it really isn't, and it's got a lot of plastic on it that could be broken. And the truth is that bike's really heavy. Might get rid of the Rally. I don't know. Actually, probably won't. I'll probably continue to just make the payment on it. And when it's paid off, I'll probably trade it in for whatever suits me at the time, whatever I seem to be interested in. But anyway, more lack of maintenance. Like I pulled the tire off of this last night and I managed to grab a hold of, I can't find one now. I grabbed a hold of a spoke to hold on to this. And yeah, like when you get a brand new bike, like you want to ride it a couple of times and then you want to set the tension in the spokes. Like that's just got a bunch of play in it. Like it just never got done. The good news with them is that when you spin them, they're not egg shaped. They're actually still round. So I'll go through and I'll tighten up all the spokes and get them to where they should be. And I'll true it up maybe a little bit better than it is now, but it's basically true. Both of them are, which is good because I wouldn't want to buy rims for this. So anyway, I'll put a few bucks into this bike. I'm still going to come out ahead. I tried to get him to drop the price a little bit when I got out there, but there were already like 25 other people wanting to look at this bike. When I saw it come up on Marketplace, I knew that he had it undervalued. Where I live right now, this bike, no plate is going for like at least $32.50. If it was really nice with like a pipe and stuff on it, probably 35, 37. With the plate on it, this bike goes up in value. So there will be a lot of people someday down the road. If I decide to sell this with the plate and the dual sport kit on it, I'll end up making money on this bike. Even if I didn't put that shit on it, I'll make money off of this bike. He wanted 2K for it, which, you know, it's worth that. I'm going to spend about, I'm going to guess probably $600 will have this bike really fresh and ready to ride. So $2,600, and it's going to have a plate on it. I could easily make $1,000 off of that like tomorrow by selling it. So my game plan is to ride it in the interim and someday get paid to have done so. This is the first time I've used my new lift too. I bought this lift about 6 months ago. I had been waiting. It didn't come with this part. I needed this little jack. So I got this like 2 weeks ago off of Amazon for like $100, and I needed that part. So, oh, and part of how I financed this. So the 84 Goldwing, the Tupperware tank, a little update on that bike. It went down the road to somebody else. I rolled that money over, and that helped to make this bike possible. And so, you know, I got the Tupperware tank in trade, and I thought I was going to go through it, and then right afterwards ended up with the 1500 Goldwing, which, by the way, a little update on the 1500, man, I've been riding the hell out of it. There's brand new tires right here for it that need to go on it. So the Jolly Green Giant, I've been riding the shit out of that bike and enjoying it. I just knew I wasn't going to get back to the 1200. And so I put it up for sale and basically got all my money back out of it. I probably lost $100 on that new windscreen I bought for it, but you know, no big deal. At least it's going to a guy that's actually terminally ill, and he wants to ride one last time before he passes away, basically. So he's got the 1200. He's going to put the effort in and ride it this summer, which that's cool. I'm going to ride my 1500. That's really where my heart was at anyway. So I got rid of a bike that I didn't really want to deal with. And now I've got something that I really want to go out and play on the trails with. Asher's getting to the point on his XR50 where trips out to Walker Valley. He's only been out there once, and he saw the training wheels on his bike when we went. Now he's off of the training wheels, and he's like ripping around on that bike, doing brake slides. And so he's ready to get out on the trails. Hopefully I'll be able to get him a bike with a little bit bigger wheels. I call it Rocker Valley. There's a lot of rocks and roots and stuff out there. So getting his little wheeled bike up over a lot of that stuff, I have a feeling I'm going to be helping him a lot. And so, but I'm excited to be able to get out on the trails where he'll actually be able to ride with me. The one thing this didn't come with that I'm bummed out, you know, I would have never wanted a motorcycle with a kickstand in the past. I wish I had the kickstand because I'm going to be spending a lot of time getting off of this bike to help Asher. And to be able to stop and park it and help him get over obstacles will be nice. So I need to order up a kickstand. Anyway, that's sort of the update. That's what I'm up to out here in the shop. I'm in the middle of a huge batch of panniers too, and I got people waiting. So I'm going to put in probably 6 hours of metalworking today, and then probably a couple more hours of working on the KDX. Here's the wheel bearings that came out of this thing. God, these things were just trash. The clip was in there so hard it wouldn't come out. Heat is your friend. The only reason I got these bearings and stuff, everything was all rusty up in there. I mean, it was just really a shit show. But I did get them out, and I got new ones ready to go into it. Didn't get one of these clips. I got to go source one of these on Monday or Tuesday if I have to get it through the bike, through the motorcycle store. But I think I can probably get it at either Fastenal or at Tacoma Screw. So anyway, I will probably put a little bit more effort into this later on today. Here's my dual sport kit. I like the stock pipe. It's not as heavy as it looks, but it's nice and quiet. I like quiet bikes. So anyway, Eric's Solo Box. I'm going to jump in and get some working done. Ride safe, everybody. Talk to you again soon.